welcome to the live. We're just waiting on Abigail to join. Last week we had Gabby Clark, and she was an amazing guest, and this week we're gonna have Abigail. Oh, she's just here. So, okay, we're gonna give her a second to join, and then we're gonna get started on some talk about AIM's SAT prep. So, if you guys have any questions about it, you can probably start leaving that in the chat from now, and Abigail and I are gonna try our best to get to them. Okay, so welcome. So first of all, let's start off by introducing yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Abigail Huie, and I'm a TA for AIM currently, and I'll be heading to the University of Miami in August.
Mm-hmm. And you did your AIM classes when? Last year?
I did it last year in January.
Oh, great. So my name is Rachel Armstrong, everyone. That was Abby. I also am a TA for AIM, but I'm taking my SATs this year, and I'm like currently in the college cohort. Like I'm going to the AIM classes, I'm prepping and all that kind of stuff. So today, Abby and I are going to be talking a little bit about, oh wait, hold on. Great. So today, Abby and I are going to be talking a little bit about our process with AIM, how that went, all that kind of stuff. So firstly, Abby, can you tell us a little about how you even heard about AIM classes?
Okay, so Nicole came to talk to my school about the SAT classes, and then at first I knew about the SATs and I knew that I needed it to study abroad. So I decided to try it by myself at first. So I did that in December 2020. And then after that, I was like, okay, I need to find a class. So I knew about AIM, and I was learning more about the class. I saw that they had the recorded master classes and other benefits. So I decided to go with them because I knew about them. And then to me, it looks like a good investment at the time.
So what about like individual prep wasn't working for you? Because I know lots of persons try to do individual at first, and then they realize that's kind of a mistake, that they need the help of a service like AIM. So what about the individual prep was not that great?
So when I first did it, I was in sixth form, and then I realized that trying to balance the SAT prep and then schoolwork at the same time, it wasn't working for me personally. So I guess I just needed that structure of having a class, having homework to do, having class every set time of the week, and that really helped. So for me, it was just about time management.
Same. I think that's one of the biggest benefits of coming to AIM. Like, because I think when you're individual, you kind of have to be self-motivated, and that makes it very hard to stay on track. Exactly. But with AIM, you have 2 classes a week. If you guys don't know what the process is like, you have 2 classes a week. You also have a mock exam on Sunday, and they like make sure I mean, I don't want to sound like they force you to do it, but they make sure that you get the work done. And when you're individual, like when you try to do it on your own at first, SAT prep, it kind of becomes, it's hard. It's very, very easy to fall off track because you don't have anybody there like in your corner, like helping you, egging you on and stuff. So yeah, go ahead.
Okay. And I realized that when you do it by yourself, it's like you don't know where to start, essentially, because the professionals, they would know the order, what works best most times.
Exactly.
So when by yourself, you're just like, what should I do? What to do first? Where do I need help in?
Exactly. So what was it like at the beginning of the AIM classes? Did you like it immediately? Was it like a little rough at first or anything like that?
Okay, for me, I liked this immediately because the first class, after class, you could talk to the tutor, stay back after class, ask them questions. That happened on the first class. And for me, I found that really helpful. If you had a question, I could just text one of the tutors at any hours and they would answer me. So I found that I like that a lot.
Same. That is also very so for those of you guys that don't know how it works when you begin your SAT prep with AIM, you sign up for the classes. You go to aimonlineacademy.com/SAT class. Sign up for the classes. You have an initial consultation as well before that. But when you come in, they get your number, they get your email. There's a group chat. You have direct access to your tutors and your TAs. So when you have a question or anything like that, you can just ask them immediately. And that's another huge pro. In addition to AIM's ability to keep you very much on track with the with your prep, you also have direct access to them. So when you need help, it's really, really, really easy to get it. Yeah. Another aspect of the AIM classes as well are their masterclass online thing. I think you mentioned it earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you talk a bit about that?
Okay, so when you sign up for the SAT class, you would automatically get the college navigator class, and then that's like specific courses that they have pre-recorded. So they have essay help, they have building your college list, they have how to fill out the Common App, like in detailed videos. They have how to write about your activities properly on the Common App. They have a lot of basically videos that would guide you when doing the process. So it's like you're okay, so say you don't want to pay the money to, have someone have the one-on-one with you, you have the classes that you can watch, and those can guide you while you do while you're doing it by yourself, and that really helps me a lot because I use that.
Yeah. So when you sign up for the classes that register for AIM ST classes, it comes with these pre-recorded sessions called their master classes. So what would you say was like the most helpful one of the videos that you found on there?
Okay. For me, that would be the essay, the brain dump. So there's this video, and I think TJ is the one talking in that video. Yeah. So she basically says, okay, she talks about the different types of essays, the process that you would most likely go through when finding a proper a topic to use. And then I found that really helpful and there's also an Excel sheet with like brain dump activities that you can do to get the ideas flowing for your Common App essay. So that was my favorite one.
Yeah, that's one of the like most integral parts of the college process, Aside from getting that good SAT score and stuff, your essay, it's one of the things that can really like send your application, through the roof.
Yes.
Did you do the SAT twice or more than that?
I did it 3 times.
Oh, which times? Like which?
Okay, so I did December 2020. That was when I tried it on my own. And then I did the January 2021 AIM class. And then I was supposed to do the March SAT, but then it got postponed because of COVID and stuff. So I did the May 2021 and the October 2021 exam.
Where it was only one time with AIM that you went to? Or you did both? The last 2 tries, did you go to their classes?
Yeah. So it's like when you sign up for the first class, you still have access to the Google Classroom. So you can still go back to it if you choose to do the exam again.
Oh, yeah.
That's a side list.
Yeah, and in the classes, they provide you with like resources. So like in addition to making sure that you do the homework and that kind of stuff, we get like additional activities like practice for certain topics, or the verbal reader and the math reader, that kind of stuff. When you were doing it, which one did you like more, the math or the English?
I like the verbal better.
Really?
To be honest, yeah. Most people like math better, but
same a little. I feel like the math, it like kind of tricks you because it looks easy because it's like really it's like exponents and that kind of stuff, and you learned that decades ago, so you feel like it's really really easy, and then it's not at all.
Exactly. The thing is though, at first I like the math better, but then after practicing the English, I was like, this isn't all that bad. You just have to actually read it and learn the tips. So I found verbal better the second time than the math.
Same. Well, I think especially the reading, I preferred more than the writing because I feel like with the reading, the answer is like in the passage always. Like once you learn that trick that the answer is like always there, it's really easy. I feel like, yeah. I did the SAT. For anybody that's wondering about my SAT journey stuff, I've done it once so far. My score was 1460, and I'm going to do it again in August. So I'm like prepping now to go ahead and sit in August. So wish me luck, I guess. I'm really nervous. But yeah, what would you think are like some of your biggest SAT tips as well? Like for the actual exam itself.
Okay. For the exam itself, I would say practice beforehand. Like 3 months beforehand, actually come up with a plan on how you're going to prepare for the exam, especially if you're in school at the same time. And also, I would say actually focus on your weaknesses, because I know most people, when they're practicing, they just do questions. They just do questions, they try something, and they're like, okay, I can do the exam now. But it's really important that you actually go back over the stuff that you got wrong, and then practice that over and over. in time for the exam. So I would say that's a huge factor. Practice. That's right.
Yeah, that is true. And, you know, one of the things as well that I think that people don't realize is that the exam is very important that you build up stamina because it's a really long exam. Like, if it's not 3 hours, I think it's 4 hours, somewhere around that range, either 3 or 4 hours long.
Almost 4 hours.
Yeah, almost 4 hours. So, like, the weekly mocks play a really, really big role in that stamina because every week you'll realize that, like, you're getting more and more used to keeping your brain active for 4 hours straight because it is like a skill that we're not used to, especially with exams like CSEC and CAPE. I feel like another big trick is that like people think it's going to be similar to that. It's not at all. Not at all. It's such a different exam. Yeah, and I think that, you know, the stamina aspect is a thing that persons often overlook. But yeah, how would it, like, if you were to explain to someone though, how would you describe like how it compares to CSEC and CAPE?
Okay, so for the math aspect, I think math is kind of similar to CAPE math and then add math. So the concepts are the same.
True.
Once you get once you get the concept in 6C math, you should be at least as like a 600, and then you can work on the skills from there. But for verbal, I think that, to me, I think that's a totally different thing from CSEC and CAPE, because the verbal exam for the SAT, it just requires a different level of focus. You know, like you have to be reading between the lines, you have to actually stay focused for the entire 3 hours to actually do that part. But then for CSEC and CAPE, you know, you can just read the book, practice some questions, and it should be good. So I think that's
yeah, I think especially with the English, like CSEC and CAPE teaches us to interpret and analyze and like make inferences and assumptions and that kind of stuff. Whereas SAT reading, it's more like they want, as you said, read between the lines, but the answer is always like there. Like if you can find the evidence like explicitly written there, that's the right answer. Whereas with CAPE and CSEC, you're like trying to make assumptions based on like outside knowledge sometimes, things like that, when that is not like really encouraged when you take an exam like the SATs.
Yeah, because you know, for CSEC and CAPE, you can probably say, okay, I learned this some time ago, maybe I can use that to answer this question. But for the SATs, the answer is always there. So it's not a case where, oh, I read a passage similar to this. And that's another thing, they don't really repeat the question.
Oh yeah, never. That's really rare. I don't think that's ever happened.
Yeah, so they don't really repeat, and then it's not a case where you can say, okay, I saw this some time ago, let me try and answer. It's always there, but most times you overlook it because that's not what you're really used to.
Exactly. Would you say that the SAT classes alone, like when you were prepping, was it did you like do additional work outside a lot? Did you find yourself doing that a lot, or was it mostly the class was like enough?
So I mostly did the classes alone because I was still in school at the time, but I did the homework. I tried to do use the reader a lot. I tried to use that on my own, but otherwise the classes were like the main part, and then the homework, the classwork, and then the reader that they provided.
Same. Honestly, my first time with the SATs, I did not do that much work outside. But still, and but I think that's like a testament to how good the classes are, because I still saw improvements in my grades. Like every single time I do a new mock or do a new homework, the grade would go up, even though I really was not practicing that much outside of the classes, like at all. Like I would do the homework, and maybe before the mocks I'd revise like a little bit, but outside of that, not really. And like you still saw that like incremental jump like each time you went, so that kind of shows, you know, that the classes do like have an impact.
Because the second time when I did, that's when I actually started using the readers that they provided. But the first time I didn't really use it. I just did the homework and I went to class. I did the mock exams. That's every Sunday, and I still saw an improvement. So I guess that's why I didn't really do that much otherwise.
Same. My second time around, I do think most people encourage doing outside work. Like it definitely is encouraged. Don't be like me and Abby at all. You should definitely be studying outside of the classes, because imagine if just with the class alone you're still seeing improvement. If you're studying as well, like on your own, it's gonna be amazing. Your grade will, like, you know, Exactly. And how many months did you start prepping? Oh, someone asked, do you suggest doing CAPE before SAT? That's a very good question because I think I kind of so I did my first thing on the SAT in March, and I had the chance to do it in May as well, which is when CAPE is, and I almost did it in May, which was which should have been a huge mistake on my part. I think it's very important to space them out when you sit them, because like in retrospect doing CAPE, I would never have been able to prep for the SATs before, like at the same time as CAPE. But your question is, should I do it before, should I do it after? It doesn't really matter. The key thing is doing the SATs early. Like you want to do it because as we were saying, I mean, I was saying, most people do the exam like multiple times. So you don't want to, and like, for example, universities have this thing called early admissions or early decision that's due in November, right? So you want to do it, and you're encouraged to apply early. You want to do it with enough time before that to give yourself the opportunity to do it multiple times. So like I'm applying to university around like this time November, not this time November, this year November. Yeah. So I did it in like early in the year, which was March, and I'm going to do it again in August. And if I really, really, really have to do it again, then I also have to do it in October as well. So yeah, it's not really which one comes first, it's just doing the SATs early that's important.
I would say if you're going to sixth form, which is advised that you should, because you would normally be applying in like summer, which is now, and then going to grade 13 in the fall. So it would be wise if you did it in like grade 11, or you tried it from grade 11. So by the end of sixth form, you would do it at least 3 times, and then you have a highest score. So try to do it early. Just try. If it's not possible, then you can still do it during CAPE, but not after, unless you want to take a gap year.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, because after CAPE, you will be finished.
After CAPE, you probably only have like one or two times to do it, and the second time will be very, very close to EDs. Wait, when you say grade 11, you mean fifth form or lower?
Yeah, fifth form.
Fifth form. Oh, did you do it in fifth form?
Yes, that's the time I tried it in December.
Oh yeah, I don't see a lot of people doing that. That was smart of you for sure, starting from that early. Honestly, that's probably the biggest thing with the exam. And also, if you have the chance to, I didn't do it, but PSAT is something that you guys should. Yeah, it's an exam that's kind of like the baby SATs. It doesn't really. Well, I think you can submit the grades to some schools sometimes. I don't really know, but if maybe you're in fourth form, fifth form, and you don't think you're ready to make the SAT dive, you can try PSATs just to kind of see where you're at and see if you are the kind of person that needs to start really early because you have lots of work to do or something like that. But yeah, guys, if you have any more questions, definitely submit them. We're so happy to answer questions about the SATs. But another thing to mention though, speaking of starting early enough, AIM's July class closes very soon. I believe there's probably about 8 or so days left to sign up, and this is for if you want to sign up to do the SATs in October. So if you are planning to, you have like a very, very small window, and you should definitely look into visiting the website to see where you're gonna to see if you're gonna pursue the classes. And as Abigail, I would encourage you to definitely sign up. It's AIM Online Academy / SAT class. But yeah.
And, okay. When we're talking about the doing this early part, and I think that another thing why most people don't do it early, they don't really know if they want to study abroad, or they don't know what the process is about. So it's like not until in sixth form they're like, oh my gosh, I think I want to study abroad. Everybody's applying abroad, and then that's the time when they actually feel a sense of urgency to try the SATs. But you should look from like fifth form or before. You should look into that and see if that's something that you're interested in, so you can actually be prepared and get the scholarships and all of that.
Definitely. Yeah, honestly, one of the biggest things with college prep in general, even including SATs, is starting early. It's a big mistake that people make, especially when it comes to things like building up your portfolio. Because when you're applying to university, you want to have a nice profile with lots of activities, not necessarily lots of activities, but activities that stand out, that show your hook, that kind of stuff, and people like would wait late, and they like have just one summer to try to like pack in something really good. And sometimes universities can pick up on that. They can pick up on if you're doing something just for the application or something like that. So you want to have been starting to do like activities and that kind of stuff way before, so it like it's evident that you're doing it because you care about it or because you have some passions about it. Yeah. Just a little college advice side note apart from the SATs. If anybody else has any questions, though, guys, definitely don't be afraid to ask at all. But another popular question, though, that I do know that people often talk about is applying SAT optional. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay, for me, I would say even if they say it's optional, it's not really optional. I know most people say it, but it's true. Like especially if you're an international student, that means you're applying. You're born outside of the US. It's advised that you do it even if they say it's optional, because during the admissions process, they kind of view us differently when trying to say who to accept, who to give the scholarships to. So I would say do the SATs even if they say it's optional, especially if you're trying to get scholarships and financial aid from the school.
Yeah, last week when I was speaking to Gabby, she gave an amazing analogy for like why you should definitely why she doesn't encourage applying test optional. It was like if a student if someone really likes apples and someone is applying and they have 4 apples, whereas someone has 5 apples, the 5th apple being having taken the SAT in 17th year grade, the person with 5 apples does look a little bit better. Like you want the person with 5 apples, right? So schools that say like now there's some schools that say test blind, like Caltech. They like when they say test blind, they do not look at your scores. Like if you submit them, they're not gonna look at them. In that case, then sure, don't apply with scores and stuff. But test optional schools, it's not really optional. Like it's gonna improve. It's gonna improve your profile no matter what if you apply with SAT grades, especially if your score is strong.
Yeah, that's true. Because if it's like say me and Rachel are applying to the same school, and then I have an SAT score of like 1500, and then she didn't do the SATs at all. So then we apply, we have a similar profile, and then both of us apply. More than likely, they would take the person with the SATs because they can actually use that to measure how they would do in college, how they're currently doing, versus the person that didn't do it.
Exactly. So test optional, like don't be fooled by it, like at all. It really, So if you are making that step though, and you decide, okay, I'm going to the SATs, what would be? Well, actually, let me tell you guys. The first step actually would be to sign up for SAT classes. But aside from that, something that's very important is checking the test dates and making sure you don't miss the deadline. So if you guys if we've convinced you that the SATs is a very important part of your profile and you should do it and stuff, your first step would be to check out IN's website, but then also to look at the dates and stuff because they're like deadlines to register for the exam. So if you want to do it in August, for example, the deadline is the 29th, I believe, and October is obviously going to be a little bit further down, but it's something that everybody should make notes of. Yeah, in case anybody was like wondering about their first steps once choosing to take them. So back to the classes though, what would you say was like your personal favorite thing aside from the master classes that they offer and the keeping you on track? What else about the classes did you really like?
Okay, for me, I remember this one time, as I said, when I was doing classes, we're still in school, so we're trying to balance schoolwork and then SAT prep. And then this one time, Stephanie gave us, so she's a verbal tutor, and then during class, we had to do this activity. And then after the time, I think it was 15 minutes she gave us, we had to send her our scores, everyone. And then the scores were, not there yet. So then she gave us this resource, and she said every morning we had to read something from the New York Times.
Oh, yes, I remember. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she gave us that to read, and she said every morning, and then she would do check-ins to see what we read. And then I just found that like she was so invested in getting us to the point where we need to be. And then I found that like in
oh
personal investment of the tutors and how much they actually want to get a great score.
Oh, I'm gonna practice in a second, but someone in the chat did ask. Yeah, I can hear you. You're good. You chipped out for like 1 second, but you're back now completely. But someone asked me what my current score is. My current score is 1460, and I'm doing it again in August. But back to what you said though, Abby, I agree. The personal investment that the tutor is taking you and the care that they show, it is definitely one of the biggest pluses of going to AIM classes, or just honestly any ST class as well. But we can only speak to AIM because that's what we did. But for us, I would say like when you had a question or when you needed help, it was very easy to get that help because you had not 24/7, but essentially 24/7 access to the TAs and the tutors. You shoot them a message, you can expect a reply like pretty soon back, and that kind of stands to how much they actually like care about seeing your success in the exam. I remember my math tutor, like Dominic, she like talked to us like just like friendly as well, like outside the SATs, and it really helped lighten the mood in classes as well. Like she taught us about her experience. Someone's asking how many times can you take the test. You can take the test as many times as you want. Usually people take it like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure if universities like know how many times you take it or anything like that. I don't think they do. But yeah. So, but people usually take 2 to 3 times. So, if after your first time, if after your first time, you don't get that perfect score, it's completely fine. Yeah.
Oh, I was saying that they said don't take it more than 3 times. That's not recommended. Another reason is because each time you take it, you have to pay for the exam, and it's like around $100 US. So it's recommended that you do it at least 3 times, unless you definitely need to do it another time. Aim for the 3 times if you need to.
Someone's asking about which universities offer 100% aid. Would you be able to like help us with that?
Yeah. 100%. Are you an international student? Because that's a main factor for international students. It's mostly like the Ivy League schools, or like the selective schools that would offer 100% aid. So like Yale, Columbia, MIT, Stanford, NYU in Abu Dhabi. Those are for international students, but for citizens, they have more options. Like majority of the schools offer. University of Miami as well. They offer 100% aid. That's my school.
Yeah. Persons are asking as well about what university to go. So just to clarify, I'm like on my college journey right now. So I am like just starting. Harvard would be included, yes. Yeah. In those that Abby was listing. So I'm like in the process, but Abby has applied. She's headed straight for University of Miami, you know. And so yeah, so she definitely be able to answer your financial aid questions very, very like with an informed opinion. But that's also what I've like to back you up. That's what I've heard as well. That schools like those schools, they do offer 100% aid, whereas other schools it's like based on your need and stuff, and they're a little bit more like stingy with it, you could say. Yeah. I guess. Yeah, because those schools like Ivy League schools there's this thing called an endowment that schools have, and schools like that they have like huge endowment, so they can afford to give out a lot of money, whereas other schools like might not necessarily. But that doesn't mean that those are your only options. Of course, you can definitely try your luck with like any school out there that you're really passionate about.
Because for those type of schools, it's like, okay, it's hard to get in, but once you get in, it's kind of guaranteed that they would provide you with enough financial aid that you need. Versus like the public schools or the state schools, they're more likely to accept it, yes, but then the aid that you would get, it would be less, or it wouldn't be enough to kind of cover tuition and everything else if you're in need.
So let me see, make sure I didn't miss any questions. If you guys have more questions, definitely feel free to ask for sure. But yeah, another thing though, with AIM, their college counseling does offer very, very good help with the financial aid aspects of a kind of university. So that's definitely something. If you can't, the classes for this cohort are closed. Like not classes, the college prep for this cohort is closed by now. But if you're applying to university in 2024, like for that year, like if you're applying to university next year, essentially 2023, I guess, it would be a very good option for you because they offer amazing help with financial aid aspects.
Yeah. And they also have the financial aid master classes that we were talking about earlier.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, they have some for financial aid.
Yeah.
And also fill out the CSS and the FAFSA and all of those forms that you need to fill out.
So when you sign up for the SEC classes, there are these pre-recorded sessions. We talked about it earlier, but new people are probably on the live. But there are these pre-recorded sessions that AIM provides for free with the classes that does talk about like college prep advice. So if you're looking for that, you can definitely get that with the SAT class packages as well. Someone asked if they kick you out if you can't pay. If you apply to university and you get in and they offer you a certain amount of money and you can't afford the rest of it, it would be it's hard to figure out any other solution apart from picking a new university. I believe that sometimes you might be able to talk to the university a little bit more about the situation, but even then, that's not really yeah. So chances are, if you've applied and you're not, the financial is not where you want it to be, you might have to look at other school options, like university options.
Because they can try to appeal for more aid, but most times they're not going to give you that much, or they will just deny it if they don't say a real reason as to why they should offer you more.
Exactly. So, guys, if you're interested in hearing like a little bit more information like outside these lives, a great option for something to attend would be AIM's open houses, because we do answer. Did you attend any of those when you were looking into AIM?
Yes, I did. I attended that for them. Almost everyone.
Same, yeah. Almost everyone, that's crazy. But AIM has these open houses that you can kind of ask a little bit more questions about this kind of stuff. And they're completely free, and you just a great way to know when they're happening is to sign up for AIM's newsletters, which I'm not sure of the exact URL, but just visiting aimonlineacademy.com and then clicking around, you'll probably find it and sign up for the newsletter, so you can know when they have open houses that are completely free, and you can go there and ask a little bit more questions about the process. And another question about the SAT that's a very good question is, I think it's about SATs. It's how much should I aim for?
Oh.
Yeah, how much should I aim for? And that depends on your target school, really. Yeah, Abby?
Yeah, it depends on the school that you want to go to. So if you're doing your research and you say, okay, I want to attend this certain school, then you would try and find the base score. You can find that online of that school. And it also depends on if you need financial aid. Because if you need scholarships or financial aid, then you should aim for more. You should aim for a higher score so you could qualify for those.
Yeah. Oh, their question was about service hours.
Okay.
Ooh. We're going to talk about it a little bit and then reroute back to the score thing, because that's a very important discussion as well, like your target score with SATs. But the service hours thing, when you're applying, did schools have a base amount of service hours?
No, they didn't.
Did they ask? Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so when you're applying this for the US, then you fill out the common app. And then on the common app, they ask for your activities that you did, specific hours that you spent on those activities. So they don't really ask directly for service hours, but if you did it, then that's where you would put it on the common app. And then I think you should aim for, a good amount to show that you're actually passionate about it, and then to show that you're interested in it from before the college application process. But there's not a specific amount.
Yeah, I know that some schools themselves have an amount of service hours. Like at Campion, we have I don't know how much they enforce it, but we do have a base amount of service hours that we have to complete. So, but as university though, not really. And how do they verify the hours? I don't think they do.
They wouldn't verify unless it's like you're saying 100 and something hours a day. Then they would probably contact the school or something to verify that. But most cases, they wouldn't try to verify it.
Yeah. But back to the target score with your SATs, though, yeah. It's very important. At the very first start, this was something that I really liked. At the very beginning of my classes with AIM, Stephanie, who was my verbal tutor, she made us set like this goal thing.
Yes.
Yeah, we had this like goal form for our target scores. It's very important to have like a goal in sight rather than just doing it and being like, I'm just trying to get the best I can get. Because when you have a goal in sight, it can help you keep track of like, okay, next month I need to try and get up by like 20 points. Next one, try to get up by like 30 points, etc., etc. So as Abby said, you would probably think about your dream schools, and then you would look into what the median score or that the range of scores the students that apply there usually have, and then you like work from there and think about what's attainable for you, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that what you did as well? Like when you were applying to Miami, you looked it up, blah blah blah,
Yeah.
or did you like, or you just try and get the highest score you could get?
Well, for the most part, I kind of looked up the schools that I wanted to apply to, and then I had an idea of, okay, so this is the score that I most likely need to get to apply to that school and have a high chances. So that's what I did. So I did. Miami was my target school, so my score was kind of in range with what the accepted score was.
Yeah. So if anybody's wondering about that, the process of selecting, that's how you go about it. But also, something that AIM has like recently rolled out that might be a little bit more helpful for students is like one-on-one tutoring as well, guys. So me and I were talking also about the group classes and how that works. But if you don't think you work well at that, AIM also offers one-on-one classes as well. So if you're interested, that's a very good option for students looking for that. Yeah. Guys, if you have any more questions about the exam or AIM specifically, definitely ask. We're so happy to answer. Outside of that, though, what did you think was the biggest? What do you think about the environment of the classes as well? I think that's something that people care about a lot.
Okay, so for the most part, the classes it was kind of like a group effort. So, it was like all of us trying to improve our score. It wasn't like, okay, I'm in this online class, I don't really talk to anybody. It was more of everyone coming together and trying to get a higher score. For the tutors and the TA side and the admin side, I really like that you could see that they were sort of like a family in a sense. Like, they're always working together. If you reach out to one person, they wouldn't hesitate to help you and answer you or refer you to someone who could help you. So I really like that about the class. It was like a very tight-knit environment in a sense.
What do you think about the fact that it was like online? Because I know some people hate that, some people love that.
Okay. I like the fact that it was online because even though it's online, they try to enforce having on your cameras, group discussions. So it's like, most times in online, you can fall asleep or you just turn off your camera and you go and do something else. But they try to ensure that you have on your camera, you're engaging with the class. So I found that helpful. And then it's online, so you could, wake up, get ready, and enjoy the class. You would have to really drive anywhere. So I found that beneficial.
I literally I'm one of the people that loved, well, I wouldn't say loved online school, but it was very beneficial at points, I can definitely say, because you had, exactly, you didn't have to drive anywhere, you had so much time on your hands as well. Like, especially, at least me, my schedule is so tight sometimes, and with the online classes, for example, like, let's say the class was in person, but I was at my school for some other reason, and I had to leave school at 4:30, where the class starts at 4:30. I end up missing like a good 25 minutes or something along those lines of the class if it wasn't online. So I think it's one of the most beneficial parts. I think it's a huge pro that the classes are online because it allows you to like get things done outside of it doesn't take up too much of your time because you save so much time on driving, so much time on effort. You get to be at home. You get to like wear whatever you want from like the chest down. It's comfortable and it's convenient.
And for me, the classes are recorded, so I found that very helpful.
Yeah. That's
So
true.
even though it's online, you know, things happen and you may have to miss a class, but then it's always recorded. So you can go back, you can watch it, you can actually, because the first time actually when I signed up for the classes, they already started from before. So I missed one class. So I had to watch the verbal recording. And then I watched that and it was like I was in the class still. So I didn't really miss anything. That one I helped.
Yeah, that's a huge pro. Like because it's online, they record sessions and they upload it onto Google Classroom for you. But if anyone's wondering about the structure of the classes too, because I talked about like when it starts, how the classes go is there's 2 classes a week. You have an English class or a verbal class and a math class. And they're 3 hours long, 4:30 to 7:30. If it's in the week, it's 4:30 to 7:30. But I believe if it's on like a Saturday, the time is a little bit different, probably like earlier in the day. Yeah, something like that. And aside from that, they also have weekly mock exam on Sundays, which is from like around 9 a.m. I think. That's when it usually starts.
12.
Yeah, about then. And we also get weekly homework too, which would be one math homework, one English homework, one, why did you call it English? Sorry, one verbal homework and math homework. And that's essentially it. Outside of that, any other thing that you're doing is like optional. But outside of attending the classes, doing the homework, attending the mocks, those are the mandatory aspects of the class. Whereas they also do provide like optional homeworks for you to do if you want the extra work, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's just a little bit about the formats. Did that work for you? Like that, would you have preferred more classes a week, less classes a week, anything like that?
No, I think that was good because even though class would be once a week, you still have the homework, you still have the mocks every single Sunday. You have to wake up out your bed for the mocks. So I found that I still had practice even though class was just once a week. So I found that good.
Same. I think that if it was more, like I'd get annoyed. Like
Yeah, I would
it
be like,
would
class again.
another class. Exactly. And it make it easier to just like stop trying because oh, and also I think I fall behind too, especially if it was like more homework. Because guys, as we said, ST is a very long exam. So that one homework a week, you could spread that out over the entire week to get it done. Because it's like in especially verbal, there's like 96 questions in total that you're answering. So, you know, I think that sweet spot of like once a week was pretty good because if they give you none, then you fall off, you stop practicing, you blah blah blah. And if it was more than that, it becomes very, very difficult to manage and stay on track. Yeah. Even then, even with the one homework, sometimes I like submit so late and stuff. And it was very understanding about that, which was amazing.
Same.
Yeah. But what would be a tip for like for building up that stamina and being able to sit through such a long exam that you give from your experience?
For me, before, because I said I tried it on my own at the first time, and then I didn't really practice sitting down for almost 4 hours doing the exam and shading. They give you breaks, but I mean, it still adds up to 4 hours. So I found that with the mock exams that we had every Sunday with Ames class, that kind of helped me to get in the mood, you know. So every Sunday, I could actually get the practice of filling out the answer sheets, sitting down for that time because they give you the same breaks as if it was a real exam. So I actually got help from that, and that helped me to build the stamina for the exam.
Yeah, I think so too. You know, for persons that are gonna be trying to prep on their own, especially last week, Nicole and Gabby were talking a lot about how even then, at least with the initial consultation, which is about I think 100 or 150 USD, could be so beneficial for you in the process because the college process, there's so many people trying to help you, trying to give you advice, trying to blah 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 and guide you. Whereas and like you know, you can get very lost in all the noise. So coming to just that one initial consultation can clear a lot of ground for you in your journey and give you a whole lot of guidance. Someone asked, do they help you choose your colleges too? Yes, their Ames college counseling program. They help you choose your colleges, but the SC classes are most for SATs. But they offer pre-recorded sessions on college advice. Was that offered in there in the master classes? Did they
Yeah,
give you
for the master classes, they provided you with these sheets of classes that would of schools, sorry, that offer about 100% need. I mean 100% aid for international students. So they provided you with that list, and I sort of chose my schools from that list because, as I said, I was looking for need and I needed to apply. Why do I keep saying need? I was looking for aid and I needed to apply to those schools. So they provide you with a document of the schools. So they don't really choose it for you, but they also provide you with the schools, but then they provided you with this document that you can fill out to kind of find which schools are fit for you based on some questions. So that really helped me. So essentially, they're helping you to choose the schools, but I don't really choose it for you with the master classes.
And guys, that's for the SAT program. And you'd think that the SAT program would just be about SATs, but they offer that additional help too. So if you're not understanding, like when you sign up, when you register for the classes, you get these pre-recorded videos, and Abigail explained like some documents, and Abby explained some documents as well that can help you with stuff like that, so, like helping you pick your universities, like stuff like that, just from signing up for the class. And that aspect, the master classes are completely free. Yeah. Oh, could you help with this one? Someone's asking which for medicine, which Ivies are best.
Medicine, Nicole, no, she's the founder of AIM. She normally advises that you do medicine in Jamaica if you're looking to do med. The reason why is because if you want to do medicine, if you do so here, it's about 4 years at Huie, and then you can move on to doing the exams and do what you need to do. But if you want to do med and you decide to go abroad, then you're gonna have to do 4 years of undergrad in like biology or chemistry, and then you're gonna have to do another 2 years or so to actually get the degree that you need to do medicine. So it's normally recommended that you do it down here first.
That's also what I've heard.
Yeah.
All of my friends, like in my year up at university, I plan to do medicine, plan to stay here because the time is so much shorter. You guys have to school a lot faster if you choose to stay here. Yeah. But in terms of Ivies, I know that I don't know which Ivies best, but a very popular med school is Johns Hopkins. That I've heard a lot about, and it's because you seem like asking for like prestigious schools or something, so Johns Hopkins would definitely be up there, even though it's not an Ivy. Yeah. What do you think you're gonna study at university?
Biochemistry and molecular biology. So that's one major.
Oh. What do you want to be?
I want to be a forensic scientist.
That's so interesting. What made you decide to do that?
Well, like I always felt I was always interested in science, like from the get-go, from like grade 9, which is third form, and then I took chemistry for the first time. I was interested in that, and then I was like, okay, I like investigating stuff, I like figuring stuff out. So I was like, okay, maybe I should do forensic science. And then I realized that Jamaica, we don't really have a lot of that. And even if we do, we need serious advancements to actually help with the crime that's going on.
Oh, that's, it's crazy that you like chemistry. Chemistry, I love, I literally love every single subject except chemistry. It's I hate, like, I did it for CSEC, and the second I got out of CSEC, I was like, never again. This subject is never see me ever again. Really? Yeah. It's not like it one thing. But that does sound interesting though. Like, I can understand the appeal of forensic science for sure, because of the whole, I feel like a lot of us watch like CSI, Forensic Files, blah blah blah. So, it definitely has its intrigue. Someone, Luck is asking to explain the time again. Are you talking about the timeline for med school when you apply abroad versus in Jamaica? It definitely is. Could you go back again?
Or was she talking about the time for the exam?
I don't know. I feel like we've talked about that so long ago. We can explain both again.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I was saying.
Med.
Oh, med. Okay, yeah. So they normally say, do med in Jamaica or somewhere in the Caribbean first, because you just do 4 years and then you would get your degree, and then you can do medicine after that, after you do the necessary exams. But if you decide to do it in the US or another country, you'd have to do 4 years undergrad first in like biology or chemistry or one of the sciences, and then you would have to actually get your degree in medicine after that again. So that's just more years of school. So they normally say do it first and then decide what you want to do after. Do it out here first and then decide after.
Yeah. So all in all, it's just first place in Jamaica is the bottom line. So yeah, what there's a lot of research you can do about that, and med students, if you know one that studies medicine in Jamaica, they can definitely tell you more about the pros of doing it here at Huie. Yeah. But we're close to 6 o'clock. Maybe we can talk about our final SSC advice and go back over the best pros of AIMS classes for SATs. So yeah, let's start with those two.
Okay, so are you gonna go first or?
Oh, you can go first.
Okay, so I would say the final advice is to prepare for the exam early. If you know that studying abroad is something that you're interested in, prepare from early to do the exam. And the next thing is to practice. So practice and start early. That's one of the main things.
Same. I agree. Starting early is definitely the key thing, because once the SATs happens like a few times a year, and once you let those chances pass by, it can be so detrimental. Oh, where are we studying? I'm applying to university this year, and Abby is headed to University of Miami. So big congrats to her. But yes, so starting early is definitely the biggest takeaway, for sure. AIMS October classes for people that want the SATs in October. And if you want to apply, if you're applying to university this year and want to apply ED, that would be your last chance to do the SATs and get whatever score you want, because after that, the next thing is like in December or something. So starting early. So if you want to go to those classes and you want to do the exam in October, visit AIM Online Academy /SAT class. And then talk about why AIM, like why we chose AIM and why we'd encourage it. For me, it's AIM's way of keeping you on track and keeping you consistent. So I think that's the biggest pro. Like the weekly mocks, the weekly whatever, it helps you to build this stamina that you're gonna need for an exam at SATs, which is like 3 hours long, more on the 4 hour side, honestly. So that's probably why, and also the environment and the fact that it's online. It's so convenient for if you're a busy person. And you go ahead and answer, and then one last question from the chat someone asked that we can go over as well.
Okay, for me, it was all about, when you can just feel the energy of something that you're into, or you can feel the environment and how it connects. So for me, the Q&A sessions that they had every month. So when you sign up for the SAT classes, you have a monthly Q&A with an advisor, and you can ask any questions that you need to ask. So I went to all of them basically, and I asked a lot of questions, and that really helped me during the process if you're not a part of the college advising program. And also, when you sign up for the classes, you get additional benefits from the Goal Accelerator that Nicole has. So she provided us with some sessions on time management, how to navigate high school life. So I found that really, so for me, it's just about, you have the classes, but then you get additional benefits beyond the classes that can really help you and set you up for success in the future. And also, because when I was a part of the SAC class last year, January, I became a TA in August. That's a tutor assistant for the classes, and I'm still one a year later. So that shows how much, they're really about building a connection with people and keeping the family-oriented spirit. So I really love that about the class.
Yeah. That was a great answer, especially the Goal Accelerated thing. It's just such a huge pro. Like when you're signing up for SC class, you think it's just SC prep, but you also get so much prep on college itself. Last question, but can you do medicine in Jamaica then transition to the US? Could you speak on that a little?
Yeah, I think you can. So if you get your degree out here and then you decide, okay, I want to do medicine in the US, more than likely you can transition and get a job, get employment in the US if you want to transition.
Yeah. So with that,
Oh, there's another question. You want to ask?
Oh, let me see. Is it
She
hard
said,
doing both CAPE and SATs? It is. Okay. I almost did my second sitting of the SATs while doing CAPE, and I decided not to. And in retrospect, I am so happy that I did that, because CAPE, I do 5 subjects. CAPE on its own was so hard. It was more than enough. Much less preparing for the SATs at the same time. I personally would never ever recommend that, especially because SATs is something that you can take multiple times for the year. So why would you want to do it at the same time you're taking CAPE just once for the year? So the biggest aspect, and when I say like taking CAPE, I mean like the exams. So if you're asking like, is it hard to be a student in sixth form while preparing for the SATs? I wouldn't say like that's just reality of it. Like you just have to kind of make it work, unless you're gonna make efforts to do it in the summer. But I would not say it's hard to be a CAPE student while preparing for the SATs. But I would say it's hard to do the SATs at the same time that you're also taking CAPE, and I would never recommend that.
yeah, same.
Yeah. So with that, I think we can wrap it up. Thank you so much for coming, Abby. It was amazing having you. You answered the questions beautifully, and yeah, I hope that we were. And thank you for everybody that also asked questions in the chat and participated and all that kind of stuff. To close off one more time, it's aimonlineacademy.com/SAT class, and the July classes close in about 8 days or so. So the window is closing, guys. And as we said, the biggest part, one of the key things with college prep in general and also SAT is starting early. So you don't want to let like one of your last chances miss you by. So yeah, thank you for coming. You're welcome. It was one more time, it was amazing having you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You too.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.